October 3rd, 1993, a date etched into the annals of American military history. In the heart of Mogadishu, Somalia, Task Force Ranger was engaged in Operation Gothic Serpent. Their mission, to capture key figures of a hostile militia. This is the story of Master Sergeant Gary Gordon and Sergeant First Class Randy Shughart for their acts of heroism on that day. It was a joint force assault, planned with precision. The initial phase unfolded as expected, but the chaos of urban warfare quickly escalated. The situation on the ground became intensely volatile. Providing vital air support were the Army's Black Hawk helicopters. They hovered above, offering insertion and cover. Then, the unthinkable happened. Super 61, a Black Hawk, was struck and crashed deep within enemy territory. A combat search and rescue team was immediately dispatched to the site. Shortly after, a second Black Hawk, Super 64, met the same fate. It went down in a different location, also surrounded by hostile forces. The ground forces were already heavily engaged and couldn't reach the second crash site quickly. High above the city, Master Sergeant Gary Gordon and Sergeant First Class Randy Shughart were providing sniper cover. They were part of the elite 1st Special Forces Operations Detachment Delta. From their vantage point, they saw the unfolding disaster at the Super 64 crash site. They saw the downed helicopter and its critically wounded crew. They also saw large numbers of armed Somali militia converging rapidly on the location. The crew on the ground had no immediate protection. Master Sergeant Gordon, the sniper team leader, knew the crew's peril. He and Sergeant First Class Shughart, along with Sergeant First Class Brad Hallings, were in a Black Hawk with the call sign Super 62. They made a request that defied the overwhelming odds. They asked for permission to be inserted onto the ground at the Super 64 crash site. Their intent was clear: to defend the 4 critically wounded crew members until reinforcements could arrive. It was a mission of almost certain death. Mission commanders on the ground heard their request. They understood the danger. The situation was already too perilous, they reasoned, for just 3 snipers to effectively defend the site against the swarming militia. Command's position was that Gordon, Shughart, and Hallings could provide more assistance from the air. Their initial request was denied. The risk was deemed too high for them to go in on the ground. But Gary Gordon saw the reality on the ground. He concluded the downed crew could not survive alone. They were outnumbered and severely injured. He repeated his request, emphasizing the dire need for immediate protection at the site. He insisted, understanding the gravity of the situation better than anyone from his aerial perspective. He requested permission a second time, then a third. Finally, after his persistent calls, permission was granted. Sergeant First Class Brad Hallings remained in the air, taking control of a minigun after a crew chief was injured. Gordon and Shughart prepared to go in. They were inserted onto the ground near the downed Super 64. Their only weapons were their rifles and sidearms. They were 2 men stepping into a hornet's nest. Large numbers of armed Somalis were already surrounding the area. Gordon and Shughart immediately began fighting their way towards the crashed Black Hawk. Every step was contested. They reached the downed helicopter. Inside, they found Chief Warrant Officer Michael Durant and the other crew members. They quickly extracted the wounded men from the wreckage. Their next action was to establish a defensive perimeter around the crash site. They were just 2 Delta snipers, armed with rifles, facing an enraged and heavily armed mob. Gordon and Shughart fought with incredible ferocity. They inflicted heavy casualties on the attacking militia. Their skill and courage were undeniable, but the numbers were simply overwhelming. They were vastly outnumbered and outgunned. Their ammunition began to run critically low. The relentless assault continued from all sides. In the desperate fight, both men were ultimately killed by enemy gunfire. Later analysis suggested Master Sergeant Gordon was the first to fall. Sergeant First Class Shughart, seeing his teammate down, retrieved Gordon's Car-15 rifle. He gave it to the wounded pilot, Michael Durant, so he could defend himself. Shortly after, Randy Shughart was also killed. Michael Durant was then taken captive by the militia. In the immediate aftermath, the scale of the fight was evident. The Somalis counted significant casualties among their own ranks, a testament to the effectiveness of the two Delta snipers' defense. Master Sergeant Gary Gordon and Sergeant First Class Randy Shughart were the only soldiers in Operation Gothic Serpent to receive the Medal of Honor. They were the first recipients of the nation's highest military decoration since the Vietnam War. Their extraordinary actions, their selfless decision to go into impossible danger to protect others, embody the highest ideals of military service. Their story was later depicted in the 2001 movie Black Hawk Down, bringing their heroism to a wider public audience. Gary I. Gordon and Randall D. Shughart were more than just soldiers. They were warriors of exceptional courage. They made the ultimate sacrifice, becoming legends through their valor in the face of overwhelming odds. Their names stand as enduring symbols of heroism and selflessness. Like and share this video. Subscribe to the channel to learn more about our service members who went above and beyond the call of duty.